The head of the UAW, Sean Fain, he just came out and said this. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. I'd love to see you. I'll be at the Fully Charged Live. It's now changed its name to Electrify Everything. It'll be in Sydney in between the 9th and 11th of February. It's going to be an amazing show, guys. I'd love to see you there. By the way, if you want tickets at a 20% discount, I'll put a link in the description below. So make sure you use my promo code so you can save some money. Sean Fain, a lot of people don't know this, but UAW workers said to Sean, he's the CEO or the head of the UAW, they said to Sean Fain, we want you, while we're striking, you to take strike wages like we are. So strike wages obviously are limited wages. It's lower than normal pay. And Sean Fain said no, he wasn't willing to do that. Now, this guy is fairly wealthy. He could have done so, but he didn't do that. Now, just to give you some context, there's not a lot of people actually know that story. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but that's just his personal choice, I guess. Yeah. The UAW president has said workers at Tesla are just scraping by while Elon Musk is flying his ass to outer space. That's literally what he said. He flies his ass to outer space. As far as I know, Elon Musk is certainly not an astronaut, and I don't believe he's planning on flying his ass to outer space, at least not anytime soon. Anyway, he said working people want their lives back, and that unions don't create lords and peasants. So what does he mean by unions don't create lords and peasants? Well, Elon Musk, he did an interview recently. He looked very tired, guys. That was my impression. Anyway, in this interview, he was obviously triggered by some things to do with X and media advertising and people saying X was promoting hate speech and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, whether you believe that or not, it's another story. I'm not going to get into that. However, Musk said this about unions in this interview. I think it's generally not good to have an adversarial relationship between people on the line. One group at the company and another group, said Musk. In fact, I disagree with unions, perhaps for a reason that is different than people may expect. I just don't like anything which creates kind of a lords and peasants sort of thing. Now, my personal opinion is that what Musk was trying to say is the union, the UAW, it's worth $1 billion. It doesn't really create value. It doesn't build anything, doesn't make anything. It's sort of like a middleman. They make money from the workers. How else do they make it? I mean, that's what it's coming from. It's coming from that business and from the workers. Now, in many cases, unions are necessary, and they were certainly necessary during the Industrial Revolution, because otherwise workers would often be in terrible conditions where they literally had to pee where they were standing. Very, very common, in fact. They'd have to, do all kinds of things. In fact, often workers would stand in straw so that when they peed, it would absorb the pee. And there was all kinds of difficult working conditions, children working in factories and all kinds of crazy stuff. But anyway, whether or not you believe in unions or not, it is true that Musk is, either first, second, or third in terms of the world's wealthiest person, depending on the week and the stock price of Tesla. But he is, of course, pretty wealthy. And Musk has said he's okay with Tesla unionizing, but obviously he does oppose unions. At the same time, he also said in this interview that if Tesla employees do decide to unionize and that's what happens, that he'll feel like Tesla has failed them. Like Tesla has done this in some fundamental way. Tesla hasn't served its employees well enough, and that's the reason that they've ended up unionizing. So that's what Elon Musk explicitly said. Now, obviously, Sean didn't feel very good about that. Sean Fain felt like he was being attacked, or that's the way he took it. He said this: the irony is he talks about lords and peasants, and that's his current status. The union president said this in an Instagram video, and he said, while he's getting extremely wealthy off the backs of his workers and, building rocket ships to fly his ass to outer space, workers continue to scrape to get by. Now, obviously, Elon was one of the founders of Tesla. Well, I believe he was anyway, depending on what you think. And the truth is, Tesla is a capitalist business that do create things. So I'm not really convinced that what Fain is saying is 100% correct. But he is right in what he's saying, that Musk is very, very wealthy, and Tesla's workers are obviously nowhere near as wealthy as he is. Fain went on to say that he's not just targeting Tesla. He says he's targeting 10 automakers operating in the United States. He claimed they generated $12 trillion in revenue and $1 trillion in profits over the last decade. He called their relationship to their workers out of whack and described a wealth disparity crisis. Realistically, I've just had a quick look at the wages of staff working at Toyota and other factories for other automakers in America. Sort of hard to compare apples for apples because some of them have different health benefits and different working conditions and things. But ultimately, I can't really see much of a difference in terms of wages at UAW staff factories versus non-UAW staff factories. So I'm not really convinced about Sean's comments that other workers at other auto manufacturing places are being paid peasants' wages, which is essentially what he's trying to claim. Fain said this: "It all boils down to one issue. Working people want their lives back. Workers are fed up with scraping by paycheck to paycheck, while wealthy people, like the Musks of the world, keep taking more and more at the expense of millions of workers." Now, do you agree with this? Do you agree with Sean? Do you agree with Musk? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I think you know what I think. Thank you for watching.